You must get to the place where you will surrender your will to the Father. Jesus did. Sure. Jesus gave us the greatest example of what I'm trying to say right here that we have in all the world. Jesus gave us the example of that relationship between Son and Father. That relationship that I have as an heir of God, a son of God, and my Heavenly Father. Those closing hours, and remember something, Jesus had a will of his own, a will separate and apart from the will of the Father. You must understand that to get the full impact of what I'm trying to say. Jesus had a will that could have been exercised completely apart, separate from the will of his Heavenly Father. But he had to come to the place where he yielded his will to the will of his Father. And that's why we have the record of him looking up and saying, Father, nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. Sure, when you pray, oh, I'll tell you, there's many a person who spends hours and hours in prayer. But do you want to know why that one has to spend so many hours in prayer? It's because he's trying to bring God's will down to his will. He's trying to break the will of God. He's trying to get God to see his way. Analyze your own praying sometime. Just stop. You're trying to change the mind of God. You're trying to change the will of God. You're trying to get God to see something your way. You'll never do it. You'll never in the 1,000 worlds ever be able to bring the will of God down to your will. You'll get the answer when you go to the secret place, shut the door, and the first thing that you do is to look up and pray, Father, I have no will of my own in this matter. Not my will, but thine be done. Beloved, that's the hardest thing in the world to do. I promise you something. But when you get to that place in the Spirit, you will never miss God's will. And we get ourselves in so much trouble and into such a mess because we demand our will rather than his.